Your kidneys are crying for help. The 8 silent alarms you're ignoring. Hello, and welcome. I want you to think about a truly staggering fact. Right now, over 90% of people who have declining kidney function are completely and totally unaware of it. Think about that for a second. That means millions of people are walking around, going to work, living their lives, feeling relatively normal, while their body's most vital filtration system is quietly beginning to break down. You or someone you love could be a part of that statistic right now. Now, I want you to ask yourself a few honest questions. That strange, faint metallic taste you get in your mouth sometimes, do you just blame it on something you ate for lunch? That persistent, annoying itch deep in your skin that no amount of lotion seems to fix, do you just write that off as dry winter skin? And what about that deep, bone-weary fatigue that hits you in the afternoon? Is that just your new normal, something you don't even question anymore? These experiences are so common, so easy to dismiss, but they can be your body's earliest, quietest whispers for help. Today, we are going to turn up the volume on those whispers. We are going to decode your body's silent signals. We will walk through the 8 most overlooked symptoms of kidney distress, explaining not just what they are, but why they happen in plain, simple English. And most importantly, by the end of this video, you will know the specific essential tests you need to ask your doctor for to get real, concrete answers about your kidney health. This isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. So let's get started. Before we dive into the specific symptoms, it's crucial to understand why this matters so much. Why are we talking about this with such urgency? Catching kidney issues early isn't just about avoiding a machine called dialysis down the road. That's a part of it, of course, but the real story is about preserving your quality of life, right here, right now. It's about protecting your energy, your mental clarity, your ability to enjoy a meal, and your freedom to live your life on your own terms. You see, late-stage kidney disease doesn't just suddenly appear. It's a slow thief. It quietly strips away your vitality, your focus, and your strength long before you ever set foot in a dialysis center. Here's an analogy I want you to hold on to throughout this video. Think of your kidneys like a silent, hard-working, high-tech air filtration system in your home. They are 2 fist-sized organs tucked away in your back, and they work 24/7, filtering about 200 quarts of blood every single day. They remove waste, balance your body's fluids, regulate your blood pressure, and even help make red blood cells. Just like that air filter, you never notice them when they're working perfectly. The air is clean and everything is fine. But when that filter starts to get clogged, slowly and silently, the air quality begins to drop. At first, you might not notice, but over time, the air becomes toxic. By the time you actually feel sick and realize something is wrong, that filter is already severely compromised and the damage is significant. That's exactly what happens with your kidneys. By the time the symptoms become obvious and undeniable, a large amount of function may already be lost. The financial cost of treating end-stage renal disease, the emotional toll on families, the sheer amount of time it takes from your life, it's immense. But here's the most important thing I want you to hear today. The goal is to never get there. The power to change that trajectory, to slow or even halt the damage, is in your hands. And it all begins with learning to recognize these early, subtle signs. Let's get into the first and perhaps one of the most misunderstood symptoms. Symptom number 1, unexplained brain fog and cognitive cloudiness. We've all had days where we feel a bit off. You walk into a room and forget why you're there. You struggle to find the right word in a conversation. You read the same paragraph 3 times and it just doesn't sink in. We usually blame it on stress, a poor night's sleep, or just getting older. But what if it's more than that? When your kidneys aren't filtering your blood effectively, waste products and toxins begin to build up. This condition is broadly known as uremia. Imagine your bloodstream is like a crystal-clear river. Your kidneys are the advanced filtration plants that keep it pure. When those plants slow down, the river starts to get polluted with waste, things like urea and creatinine. This polluted blood flows everywhere in your body, including your brain. This toxic buildup directly impacts your cognitive function. It can lead to persistent confusion, a frustrating inability to concentrate at work, and memory lapses that can be genuinely frightening. People describe it as feeling like their brain is wrapped in cotton wool. It's not just a momentary lapse, it's a constant, frustrating fog that impacts your work, your relationships, and your confidence. This is one of the most common complaints of people with advancing kidney disease, yet it's almost always the first one to be dismissed as something else. The truth is, a healthy mind relies on clean blood, and clean blood relies on healthy kidneys. Symptom number 2, a persistent metallic or ammonia-like taste in your mouth. This is a strange one, but it's incredibly specific. Have you ever had a meal and then hours later you still have a weird metallic or tinny taste in your mouth that you just can't shake? Or maybe you notice your breath has a faint but persistent smell of ammonia no matter how much you brush your teeth. This symptom, medically known as dysgeusia, is a direct result of that same uremia we just talked about. One of the main waste products your kidneys are supposed to filter out is urea. When urea builds up in your blood, some of it finds its way into your saliva. In your mouth, the urea breaks down into ammonia, and that's what causes that unpleasant taste and uremic breath. This isn't just a minor annoyance. It can fundamentally ruin the pleasure of eating. Food starts to taste off. Your favorite dishes might suddenly seem unappetizing. In particular, many people with this symptom develop a strong aversion to protein-rich foods, like meat, because the body instinctively knows that metabolizing protein creates even more urea, which just makes the problem worse. The common misconception is to blame it on a new medication, a dental issue, or acid reflux. But if this taste is persistent and you can't explain it, it's a clear signal that your body's internal environment is becoming toxic. Symptom number 3, deep, unrelenting skin itching. This is not your average dry skin. We're talking about a maddening, deep-seated itch, medically known as pruritus, that seems to come from inside your bones. You can slather on the most expensive lotions and creams, but nothing touches it. It can be all over your body or in specific places, and it's often worse at night, sometimes being so intense that it prevents you from sleeping. So what's going on here? Your kidneys are masters of mineral balance. They are responsible for regulating the levels of minerals like phosphorus and calcium in your blood. When kidney function declines, they can no longer effectively remove excess phosphorus, so phosphorus levels in your blood start to rise. Your body, in an attempt to correct this imbalance, pulls calcium from your bones to try and bind with the excess phosphorus. The problem is, this creates tiny, sharp crystals of calcium phosphate that can deposit themselves in your skin, blood vessels, and organs. It is these microscopic crystals lodging in your skin that cause that deep, unbearable itch from the inside out. People will scratch until they bleed, looking for relief. They assume it's an allergy, eczema, or just a part of aging. But this specific type of deep, unresponsive itch is a classic, though often overlooked, sign that your body's mineral balance is dangerously out of whack, all because your kidneys can't do their job. Symptom number 4, loss of appetite and feeling full too quickly. This symptom often goes hand in hand with the metallic taste we discussed. It's not just about not feeling hungry. It's a more profound change. You might sit down for a meal you would normally enjoy, take a few bites, and suddenly feel completely full, almost nauseated. The very thought of eating more can be off-putting. Again, the culprit here is the buildup of uremic toxins in your bloodstream. These toxins have a direct effect on your central nervous system and your digestive tract. They can make you feel chronically nauseated, and they can trick your brain into thinking you're full when you're not. As mentioned before, this is often most pronounced with protein. Your body begins to associate meat and other proteins with the creation of more waste, leading to a genuine food aversion. The common misconception is simple. I'm just stressed, or I guess I'm just not a big eater anymore, or even, great, this will help me lose some weight. But unintentional weight loss and a lack of appetite are serious signs that your body is struggling to cope with a toxic internal environment. Your body is essentially in a constant state of mild poisoning, and its natural response is to shut down the desire for more intake. Symptom number 6. Muscle cramps, twitches, and restless legs. Do you experience painful leg cramps, especially at night, or perhaps small involuntary muscle twitches in your arms, legs, or face? Or that incredibly uncomfortable, creepy-crawly sensation in your legs when you're trying to relax, known as restless leg syndrome? While these can have many causes, they are frequently linked to failing kidney function. This all comes down to electrolytes. Think of electrolytes like potassium, calcium, sodium, and magnesium as the electrical messengers in your body. They carry the signals that tell your muscles when to contract and when to relax. Your kidneys are the master controllers of these electrolyte levels. When your kidneys are damaged, this delicate balance is thrown into chaos. For example, potassium levels can become dangerously high, or calcium levels can become too low. This scrambles the signals between your nerves and muscles. The result is misfiring, cramps when you're trying to relax, twitches out of nowhere, and that uncontrollable urge to move your legs. Many people dismiss this as dehydration, overexertion from a workout, or just a Charlie horse. But if these cramps and twitches are becoming a regular, unexplained part of your life, it could be your nervous system reacting to an electrolyte imbalance created by your struggling kidneys. Symptom number 6. Puffiness and swelling, especially around the eyes and in the ankles. This symptom, called edema, is one of the more visible signs, but it can be subtle at first. Do you wake up in the morning and notice your face, particularly the area around your eyes, is unusually puffy? Then, as the day goes on, do you find that your socks leave deep indentations on your ankles, or that your shoes feel tight by the evening? This is a classic sign of fluid and sodium retention. As we've said, healthy kidneys are experts at balancing fluids. They know exactly how much sodium and water your body needs to keep and how much to get rid of through urine. When they start to fail, they lose this ability. They can't excrete sodium properly, and where sodium goes, water follows. So, where does all this extra fluid go? It settles in your body's tissues. The puffiness around the eyes in the morning happens because you've been lying flat all night, allowing the fluid to accumulate in the soft tissue of your face. As you stand up and go about your day, gravity pulls that excess fluid downwards, causing it to pool in your feet, ankles, and lower legs. The common misconception is to blame it on eating too much salt the night before, not getting enough sleep, or just being on your feet all day. While those things can contribute, persistent, daily swelling is a major red flag that your body's fluid management system is. Symptom number 7. Noticeable changes in your urination. This seems obvious, but people often misinterpret the signs. We're not just talking about having to go to the bathroom more or less often, although that can be a sign. We need to look closer. One of the most important things to look for is foamy or bubbly urine. If your urine consistently looks like it was shaken up with bubbles that don't disappear after a minute or two, this is a serious warning sign. To understand why, let's go back to our filter analogy. The filters in your kidneys, called glomeruli, are designed to let waste and water pass through while keeping bigger, important things like protein molecules in your blood. When these filters are damaged, they become leaky. It's like having a colander with holes that are too big. Large protein molecules, specifically one called albumin, start to slip through and escape into your urine. When this protein hits the toilet water and mixes with air, it creates foam. So foamy urine is often a direct visual sign of protein leakage, which means your kidneys' filters are damaged. Other changes can include a change in the force of your stream, a feeling of pressure or difficulty urinating, or urine that is very pale or very dark. People often blame foamy urine on the toilet bowl cleaner or just not being hydrated enough, but consistent foam is a sign you cannot afford to ignore. And finally, symptom number 8, chronic shortness of breath. Feeling breathless after climbing a few flights of stairs or doing some light housework might be easy to write off. You might think, I'm just out of shape, or it must be my allergies or asthma acting up. But shortness of breath that happens with very little exertion, or even when you're resting, can be directly linked to your kidneys in two major ways. First, it goes back to the fluid overload we discussed with swelling. If your kidneys can't get rid of excess fluid, it doesn't just pool in your ankles. It can also build up in your lungs. This is a serious condition called pulmonary edema. It's like trying to breathe with waterlogged sponges in your chest. You can't get a full deep breath because there's simply no room for the air. Second, there's a connection to your blood. Healthy kidneys produce a vital hormone called erythropoietin, or EPO. EPO sends a signal to your bone marrow telling it to produce red blood cells. Red blood cells are the delivery trucks that carry oxygen from your lungs to every single part of your body. When your kidneys are failing, they produce less EPO. This means you make fewer red blood cells, a condition called anemia. With fewer red blood cells, your body is literally being starved of oxygen. That's why you feel so breathless and exhausted. Your muscles and brain aren't getting the oxygen they need to function. So, now that you know the symptoms, what do you do? This is the most important part. We need to move from symptoms to solutions. This is where you become your own best advocate. You don't need to be a medical expert. You just need to know the right questions to ask and the right tests to request. When you go to your doctor, don't just say, I'm tired or I'm itchy. You can say, I have some symptoms that concern me, and I would like to specifically check on my kidney health. Here are the essential tests that give you clear answers. First is the eGFR, which stands for Estimated Glomerular Filtration Rate. This is the single most important number you need to know. It's calculated from a simple blood test that measures your creatinine levels, along with your age, sex, and race. Think of your eGFR as your kidney's battery life indicator. A healthy kidney is at 100%. The eGFR tells you what percentage of function you have left. It's not just a pass or fail. It's a specific grade that tells you exactly where you stand. Second is the serum creatinine test itself. This is the blood test that measures a specific waste product from muscle wear and tear. If your creatinine level is high, it's a simple sign that the trash isn't being taken out. Your kidney filters are clogged, and the waste is backing up in your blood. Third, and just as important as the blood test, is a urine test called the UACR, or urine albumin to creatinine ratio.
This test is specifically looking for those microscopic bits of protein, albumin, that we talked about, the ones that cause foamy urine. Think of it as an inspection of your kidney's filter. A positive UACR is one of the earliest signs that the filter is damaged and starting to leak, often showing up long before your eGFR number starts to drop. And finally, your doctor may order an electrolyte panel. This blood test checks for those dangerous imbalances in potassium, sodium, calcium, and phosphorus that cause symptoms like muscle twitching, cramping, and even dangerous heart arrhythmias. I want you to feel empowered. Walk into your doctor's appointment and say these words: "I am concerned about my kidney health. Can we please check my eGFR and my urine albumin?" It's that simple. It's direct, it's clear, and it gives your doctor the exact information they need to help you. Now, if a problem is detected, I want you to know that there is so much hope and so many options. The journey is a spectrum of intervention. It all starts with lifestyle. This is your first and most powerful line of defense. Things like adopting a kidney-friendly diet, which typically means lower sodium, controlled protein, and managing phosphorus, can make a world of difference. Getting your blood pressure under control is absolutely critical, as is managing your blood sugar if you have diabetes. These actions are not small things. They are the foundation that can dramatically slow the progression of kidney disease. Next come medications. We now have incredible medications that do more than just manage symptoms. There are classes of drugs like ACE inhibitors and ARBs that act as protective shields for your kidneys, especially if you have high blood pressure. And newer drugs like SGLT2 inhibitors have been revolutionary in protecting kidney function for people with and without diabetes. If the disease progresses, the next step might be dialysis. This is a word that scares many people, but it's important to understand it as a life-sustaining support system. There are two main types: hemodialysis, which is often done in a clinic a few times a week, acts as an artificial kidney to clean your blood. And then there's peritoneal dialysis, a more flexible option that can often be done at home, giving you more control over your schedule. Finally, for end-stage renal disease, the goal is a kidney transplant. This is the gold standard of treatment, offering the best quality of life. A new kidney can restore your energy, your appetite, and your freedom. While the wait list can be a challenge, it represents the ultimate hope and a return to vitality. So, let's bring this all together. Your body sends signals. That persistent fatigue, that deep itch, that brain fog, that puffiness in your ankles, they are not just random, disconnected annoyances. They can be clues. They are pieces of a puzzle that, when put together, can paint a clear picture of your kidney health. The key is to listen, to connect the dots, and to investigate. Don't just watch this video and worry. Act. If any of these 8 symptoms resonated with you, if they sound a little too familiar, please make the call. Book that appointment with your doctor. Get those simple, powerful tests, the eGFR and the UACR. Knowledge is power, and early detection is your greatest weapon. Share this video with someone you care about, a parent, a sibling, a friend. You could be giving them the information that changes the entire course of their life. Your future vitality and theirs depends on the actions you take today. Thank you for taking the time to invest in your health. For our next video, we're going to do a deep dive into the science behind a truly kidney protective diet, what to eat, what to avoid, and the simple swaps you can make to protect these vital organs. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Take care of your